Hello, friends. We are back with the Chris and Ryan show. Today is episode 12, and we are talking Real Talk, which is our little series where we just chat amongst ourselves, catch up, chat a bunch of shite. Chris, how are we?
I'm okay, thanks. How's it going?
I'm wonderful. I'm
That's
wonderful.
shite with two E's.
Yeah, it's shite with two E's.
How you been? How you feeling?
Good, busy. I think everything's open. Everything's looking like it's going to open back up. Just launched the old freelance business yesterday. Today, for all listeners,
I'm
is
clapping.
Thursday.
I'm clapping.
Thank you. Thank
cheers.
you. Today is Thursday, the 1st of April, bro. It's April, bro.
Hey, do you remember last year when we were talking and it's like, oh, it's still 2020. You know, when it felt like it was going on for ages and ages. Well, it's still 2020, and now it's like the fourth month of that's a quarter of the year done.
Ah!
Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. It's mad.
It's a bit all over the place. How are you? What's happening with you?
Yeah, I'm good. Busy as well. I feel tired, but I feel happy. And I watched the Richard Branson interview yesterday, and I recommend everyone watches it because it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of his one of his first business partners is a guy called Nick Powell. Is like the first person he ever, when he was like 17 years old or something like that, and he's talking about how risky business is, but the way he says risky. Did you see it on my? When you start a business like that,
bro.
it's very risky. In fact, very risky.
I didn't know what that was. I just thought you'd posted that. It was funny.
Yeah, no, I just seen it and I was
no
like,
context whatsoever.
No context at all. But I seen it and I was like, I watched it and I was like, that was really funny. And I rewinded it and I watched it about 10 times. It was on repeat. And I was like, I need to screen record this and just share it. When you start a business like that, it's risky. In fact, very risky. So yeah. But apart from that, yeah, tired. But what's new there? And I'm really excited for bars opening up again, and to have a bit normal socialization again with the world. You know, everyone just going back to normal. The planes flying, the people in the water parks jumping. Yeah, it's going to be good. And I feel like we are getting there. Well, we are, aren't we? I mean, it's the things are going to open up next month or this month, April. So that's good news.
Yeah, things are opening up.
You're vaccinated. I have been vaccinated.
Yeah, bro.
COVID-19 AstraZeneca. Went to the
EICC.
That's the place I went to, Morrison Street. Got it done. Nice and easy. The guy was great that done it. Really helpful. Explained everything. In fact, it was really, really well planned out. You know, you walk in to the building. There's about 1,000 security guards dotted about everywhere, guiding you down this path, just pointing the direction, like the guys at the airport with a plane. And then you go down the stairs and you go through the thing. You go to a little reception thing. And in fact, actually, before that, you have to, you walk through the airport type style barriers, and then there's about 20 different desks with different nurses working on it, and then you go to your slot, whatever one it is, and then they'll say it right. You need to go to GF, or you need to go to 3B, or whatever the code is for the thing. And then it's just like hundreds of little rooms, and you just need to find where it is that you're going. So yeah, and it's sore arm for a day, but it was nice and easy, and it's done, which is good. So I'll have to get the next one as well, the booster. I think it's in 3 months when they do the boosters. So
that's the first. That's the first booth that you've been taken to in over 3 months, bro.
I know, it's been a while since the DJing's happened, but yeah, needles and booths. How about
amazing.
that?
You're talking about businesses opening back up. You've got a nice little business that's opening next weekend. Are you excited?
Yes, I am. So yeah, me and another person, Medi, his actual name, are opening Ozen Street Food, which I'm delighted about. We're going to be doing panage and street food delivery and collection only with the city centre of Edinburgh, and at Ozen Street Food Instagram, check it out.
Check it out.
Say no more.
Yeah,
coming for Edinburgh.
I'm gonna put on at least 5 stone once this opens up. Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually That's actually something that I'm starting to notice already. I'm like, this has been. We've not even opened yet, and I feel fat. Like, I mean, like I'm like, oh no, and it's not even like the food is healthy. You know that we're. It's
Yeah,
not like
just the sheer amounts of that you're
it's
eating.
the amount of food, yeah. But also saying that as well, when you have a busy day, like yesterday was probably one of the busiest days I've had in about maybe 2 or 3 years. Like,
Mm.
so I got up at like 7:30 and didn't get home till 1. So
Well,
that's
let's.
like,
I'm gonna put this into context for the listeners. I FaceTimed Chris at I think it was about 8 o'clock, maybe 10 past 8. He was already out the house. He was in some sort of shop carrying
Booker's.
something. He was you were already in Booker's, and I was like, I've never known Chris to be even out of bed at this time, bro.
Yeah,
I
needs
was like,
must.
what are you doing up at this time?
Needs must. I know it's weird seeing you in bed and me in the shop.
Aye, it's usually the other way about.
I know.
That was funny.
So yeah, got up at 7:30 or whatever, and then it was just a full high intensity, high pressure decision making day. Just loads of stuff was going on, and then also not only are we doing launch and Ozen, I had in Kovo meetings. I had to do a podcast post.
Mm,
I went and done music with Paddy. This is all in one day, you know.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, busy, but I mean, it's great. I mean, this is what you ask for, isn't it, when you go into business? So
exactly. You've also launched your little Instagram account for Control Music. Do you want to tell
yes,
people about this? What is this?
yeah. I'm a rapper, man.
I'm a I'm not a rapper.
So I'm starting a project, or I've started a music project with Paddy Dorego, the Doctor, aka Mr. Back to Back Podcast Man. Uh, yeah, we're doing a music project. We've got 2 EPs coming out, just with me, and then another EP with a rapper from Edinburgh called Armsy as well. And we've actually got quite a couple of good things coming along with that. And we're doing music videos for it and everything. So everyone will everyone will see that in probably the next month or two. Start actually getting stuff out. So I'm really looking forward to that as well, because music's my passion. You know, music's
Mm.
my favorite thing in the world. That's the thing that I love most. So, um, yeah, I think I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm just looking forward to getting it out, people dancing.
Yeah, it's
I'd
been a
love to
long
go to a
time
club. I'm
coming.
going to be emceeing in clubs and like just rapping in clubs to tunes and stuff like that. I actually remember. I'll tell you a quick story. I remember when I was running Secret, the club night at Silk on the Fridays, and I was DJing. Right, so a DJ is meant to stay in the DJ booth. Right, so 50 Cent in the club, I played it, and there was a mic there, and I was like, I know that mic works, and it's a wireless mic. It doesn't need an XLR cable. So I think I had the extended version of it. It's like a 4 minute track. So I went out to the crowd, and I was in the middle of the crowd. Right, you can find me in the club, bar full of bum. Like, and the track's playing, nobody's at the DJ booth, and I'm like, everyone's like, you can find me in this, you know what I mean? It was brilliant, and then it was one of the managers came over and they're like, can't we fucking out in the dance floor where people get in the DJ booth, you know? And that's the only time I ever done that, and I always thought to myself that was great because see, when I've seen how many people were like, how much more elevated people became when somebody was singing the words for them, because people go to a club and there's like people feel nervous, so they drink and stuff like that to loosen up, and then people want to dance, and that's why people like listening to music they've heard before because they can sing it.
Mm.
So when there's somebody there singing it, it adds a whole new flavor of confidence and style to the whole thing, and not many places do it. So yeah, if somebody's starting a club night, I'll rap for you and make it better.
Key man. Nice. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So much happening. So much happening all about the place. It's good that people are remaining busy. There's something that I've found. There is a lot of people that are starting to do their own thing. With everything coming up, like there's so many food brands opening. There's people going off and starting their own businesses. There's people doing freelance stuff. There's a lot of people, especially in our friends group, that are just like doing stuff.
I know. I think
And
people have realized.
and outside our friend group.
Yeah, for sure.
That not that you have to go away and do your own thing. That's not what I'm saying. But there does seem to be a large influx of people that have seen that you have no idea what's around the corner, and they're going and they're making that sort of like little
Yeah.
step to just doing what they actually want to do, which is amazing.
You only live once, but people know that. But it's only when you see it. It's a shame that people have to see it, like COVID. Seeing people die just like that. Just like dropping dead. And it's not even like COVID. Like people, like I don't know what COVID was just made bigger because of. It's a big problem, but because of the news and the media and stuff like that, that probably maybe over egged it a little bit. Maybe not. But I've seen videos of NHS workers saying that the hospitals, or one of the hospitals she was in, wasn't like busy, but that's just one person. So it's just an opinion. And I know it's a pandemic and we need to appreciate that. But I can't even remember where I was going with that whole thing.
I think it's easy to get lost with potential conspiracy theories on Facebook and stuff.
That wasn't even the point. Forget about that thing. We were talking about people doing their own thing. You know what I mean? Anyway, whatever the chat about COVID is very serious. But I think what I was trying to say is, you see it in the news, and you're like, right, this could happen to me, and you just see it in a different light. So that's where it comes from. It'd be like, I should do my own thing. I think anyway, especially with people not having, a lot of people furloughed and not having jobs. What else are you meant to do? You can't do anything. So
people still need to survive, and it's just that
exactly.
sort of what was it, fight or flight mode? You go into fight or flight mode when you're backed into a corner and just go for it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's basically it. And everyone should. I think if somebody wants to start their own thing, then they should do that. 100%. Because it's I don't know. Maybe it's not good for me to say. I was going to say everything's easy, but
it's definitely not.
it's easy in the sense that it's not easy because you need to put a lot of time and effort, and you need to be conscientious and all the different things that make it work.
There's so many variables.
Once you've got all them, then it becomes easy, if you know what I mean. Because there's nothing actually like. I don't know how to put it into easy terms. I'll maybe be able to elaborate further down the line at some point. But in my head, everything's easy because I make it easy. You can make things easy for yourself. And that's just the way that, like, you need to try and do it. Simplify things to the most simple way you can do it. It's the best way of completing a task. Like, what is the goal? What do I need to achieve here? And then just do it. People make the big, like, 10 other things you need to do.
Yeah, I'm the worst for that. As much as I preach about simplifying things, when it actually comes down to simplifying things and making stuff easy for yourself, I like to make things inherently inherently more difficult.
I really like the word cohesive, by the way.
Say it.
Let me just say it. In fact,
cohesive. Say it in context of a sentence.
Well, if we're buying a solution, it needs to be cohesive.
The accent, bro.
So what we chatting about today then? What are we talking about?
We're going to do what we do on these ones. Last month we done our first of our little real talk series. So we're going to break down a couple of things that we found really good from the last couple of guests that we've done. We've had Dina on last month. Dina's a nutritionist, if you haven't seen the episode already. Jamal, photographer, talks about how to stay creative and stuff during the lockdown. We get into racism. It's a really, really powerful episode. Definitely listen to that and educate yourselves on some things that you maybe don't hear in the mainstream media. And we've had Ricky Nicol.
Ricky Nicol for Green Dykes.
Ricky is amazing.
Should we count how many times I yawned during this podcast?
Yeah, I've actually noticed that I do. I've noticed before, but I've noticed even more. Like, I fake yawn half the time, eh? Like, I go like this, and I'll say I'm about to say something, and I'll go and I'll carry on speaking, but I'm not actually wanting to yawn. It's as if I'm like, I don't know what it is. It's really strange.
I'm on my second one already. Next one's my third.
Yeah, and then we had Ricky on, and we're going to talk about. He talks about getting good advice, and the advice that he got and surrounded himself with the people that he did to get that advice in the first place has literally changed his life.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
That's what I
Um,
mean, about the advice thing just before we go on. It's like he wouldn't have got to where he got to without the advice. There's
exactly.
no 20 million without it. So
We'll break that down when we get into it. But yeah, let's start from Dina. Dina, Dina was a nutritionist we had on, had a really good chat about Norwegian roosters and partying and
we
Tenerife and just getting up and going away and just just doing what you wanted to do, which was great. But you had what did you take away from the podcast? That
um,
was your number three, if anyone's listening and not watching.
Dina, Selena. Wow. The most important part, of course, is the um. Okay. Yeah. No, Dina was
The
brilliant.
Norwegian school system, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna share about it because it's unreal.
Oh,
Well,
unbelievable.
Scandinavian. It's this the school systems in Scandinavia are different from how it is in the UK. The UK has been teaching the same way since like the late 1800s. Like kids sitting in a classroom with somebody in front of them with like a board telling them what they're to learn, and that's basically been it. Like it hasn't changed very much since then. In
Mm.
fact, it hasn't changed at all. There's new things like, in fact, I don't know actually what
Well,
subjects like graphic design would be new and things like that. These are new things.
yeah,
So they've introduced new subjects, but the system itself hasn't really changed. And the way that countries like Denmark, Norway, like Sweden, these types of countries, Scandinavian countries, do it is it's like totally different world. So Dina was explaining that when they go to school, they can call the teachers by their first name, which is a massive difference already.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
have to say Miss Susie. You can just say Jess or whatever the person's
If I
name is.
told my maths teacher and called him Ross, Mister Big Ross Taylor, I think I would have got a slap, eh?
Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I was thinking actually the other day, I'm like, we shouldn't be calling people by their second name. We're not. What is this? Like, we're not in a Japanese war camp. Do you know what I mean? Yes, yes, miss. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like it's like just school. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's too serious. Where you don't
yeah.
do that in the workplace. You don't say yes, Mister, whatever the person's name is. It's just like anyway. That's the first thing is the name thing, and then the second thing is you don't need to wear a uniform. You can wear what you want. And I do
Mm.
agree with the schools. All the schools will say, "Oh, well, uniform is like good because the kids represent something." But they're representing something. They need to be representing them because they're all individuals. So it's more important to wear what you choose to wear rather than what the school says. And that's the same in the workplace. I don't agree with like people having to wear suits and all that kind of stuff. Like there's a dress code to go to work. I do agree that you need to be sharp and you need to look good, but what you wear is your choice. And then it comes down to the thing about people having piercings and tattoos and they don't get the same job opportunities, which also isn't fair either,
Yeah,
because you can't judge somebody on that. It's not fair to judge somebody on what their appearance. So
completely.
so that's the first two things, and then a couple other things are in Scandinavia. They do karaoke once a week. All the kids do karaoke once a week. They
That
have
in itself is just incredible. Imagine the
yeah,
full school
the
doing
karaoke.
karaoke on like a
Let
big massive
me like, imagine the kids
entertain
entertain
you.
you. Do you know what I mean? Imagine the whole school every week. It
Oh,
would be great fun.
incredible.
Um, so they do that. Also, they get like a plot of land, like a small plot where they learn how to grow food, and like fruit and vegetables or something like that. So they understand how to grow food basically. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
they also
They also get taught about tax and
yeah,
mortgages
so
and
they learn about
like
money as well.
the actual financial side of things, which is still mental that we don't get taught about this in the UK.
They learn about how to pay taxes. I mean, it's really really good. It's amazing. And then the other thing is they also have to help clean up in the canteen. When at lunchtime when the kids get served like whatever the
Mhm.
food is, the part of them will have to help cook and have to help clean. I think is what
Yeah,
so they have
there's little what they do is rather than send them out on like work placements and stuff, they give them jobs to do in the
school.
schools. So
Yeah,
like for
exactly.
example, Tina said that she worked in the reception.
Answering the phone.
answering the phone, and then
Passive,
some of
passive
them
phone.
worked in the cafeteria, some of them worked in here and there, and which is incredible. Just giving them little sort of stuff to do, and they were more than happy for the kids to go out of their class to go and do this job for X amount of hours for whenever they done it.
Yeah.
Because they're actually learning good experience for actually working rather than just sitting in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with the British school system is it's still
Right.
industrialized, where it's made for churning out people that want to go away and just
It's
work
made for
and work
factory
for someone
workers.
else. Yeah,
The schools are made for factory workers. That's what I feel like I
yeah,
went to school for. Like everyone had to do the same thing. You know, it's like you're put in a class, you have no input at all as an
mm,
individual. It's all output from the teacher, and that's it. And you just have to consume information, and whether like you don't really get a chance to. Okay, you can put your hand up and say I don't understand, but it's maybe sometimes deeper than that. It's not just like it's not as easy as saying I don't understand that equation. It's like I don't understand this whole entire topic. I don't want to learn it. I'm not interested in it,
yeah,
type thing. You know, and I don't think that kids should choose what they want to learn because things need to be like the important things, maths and English, and these are really important
yeah,
subjects. But see things like I think art is like in fact all the topics are important, but I think it's not so much about the topics, it's more about the way that we're taught the topics or how
yes,
and what we do
yes,
with that time, if you know what I mean as well. I think the day in a British school could be so much more effective for kids, because think about anxiety nowadays. Everyone's talking about anxiety and depression.
yeah.
A lot of people have it.
Mental health has really came to the
Exactly, yeah.
yeah
And it would help kids so much
forefront.
more if they could do the karaoke thing. And I'm thinking, I'm going to pause. The difference in mental health problems in Scandinavia versus the UK, I reckon will be a massive difference. I reckon
Mm,
Scandinavia will be much lower because their school system. Google it if you want. I guarantee it. In
I'll
fact, the
Google this.
crime rates are a lot less than the UK is, and it's all to do with education and the schooling systems because the schooling systems are so much more inclusive and are more helpful towards the individual as a kid, rather than. And on that note, I would like to be a director on the board of directors of some kind of education thing in the UK to help improve and modernise the schooling system. So that's my next thing I'm going to do. Drill
Mm.
it up.
I'm just looking at this little PDF that I've downloaded in comparison to the likes of Sweden and stuff. And so what it seems that the Norwegian sort of healthcare and stuff do, where especially with mental health, is in Scandinavia and things that they actually include addictions and mental health, which is really really
Say,
good.
say that again, sorry.
They have service models which integrate addictions and mental health, so they really
Wow.
really push forward with making sure that mental health is known and they educate properly, but it's also focused around addictions as well. It's not just what we see as like anxiety and depression and stuff.
Okay.
It's very addiction
See,
focused
look,
as
think
well.
about that on its own.
Yeah.
So I think that's basically sums up the thing. And look how whole rounded and well the people from Scandinavian countries come out. I mean, think about the Scandinavian countries themselves.
Mm,
They're like Denmark is now starting to collect, or is it Sweden? Whatever country it is starting to collect other countries' recycling rubbish because they're so
mm,
efficient at recycling. It's all down to smart people's decisions because they had a good education. Dina didn't go to private school either. Dina went to a public school. There's barely any private schools in Norway. So
mm,
that's also another thing. If people are saying, "Oh, she must have went to a private school," she didn't. She went to a public school. So the public schools in the UK and other countries that have a similar thing, America probably has a very similar way of teaching. Needs to change for especially with the world adapting in the last 25 years with the internet changing everything as well.
yeah.
Um, I mean, it's like it's still literally like 100 years behind in schooling, and it needs to change. So that's why I would like to be part of that at some point in time.
Yeah, it'd be really good. I think with the last point on the school systems thing, I think it would do Britain and whatever government's in charge would do well to actually get. I don't know if they do this already because I'm not part of the education department of the Scottish government, but it would be good for them to get in younger people to come in and be like, what do you actually think about the school system? What could we change? What could we make it better for you? what experience have you went through, and talking to people round about our age, between that 21 to 30 age range, because we've had time to go out of school, we've had time to experience more of life, so we've got a better rounded outlook. Well, I'd hope that we'd have a better rounded outlook at everything that goes on. I think we would be a really good demographic for the Scottish Government to actually speak to and find out what they could improve on when it comes to the education system.
Imagine, like, how many people do you know? You know, when somebody said, like, when you speak to somebody and you ask them about school and they say, "Oh, school wasn't for me. I didn't really learn much at school." The opposite of that would be, school was really good. I learned loads. How many people do you know have said that to you? Yeah, exactly.
Not a
And the
lot.
second exactly, do you know what I mean? I can't think of anybody that's ever said school was great. I learned so much from it. Like, it's really, really helped me. Like, really benefited me in life going to school. And it has, because obviously we learn stuff. We
Yeah,
get that. You
it
do come out a
has. We
better
might not
person.
have actually
But
noticed it.
yeah, I'm not talking about, like, the schools are. Don't get me wrong. The schools are amazing. We've got, like, there's teachers there that are employed. Like, there's the buildings there that aren't having water leaking in them. Like, well, maybe in some. You know, there's food served. Like, in a general sense, the schools are good. Like, the schools are there.
Yeah.
Kids are getting taught. They can go to university, which is
We have
great.
a
And
we
they
have
can
a
get
free
career.
education system, which is
Yeah, it's
amazing.
brilliant, and it leads people to get to university to get good jobs. That is amazing. What I'm saying is we could be better, and that's always a good thing. We could be better, and I don't even think the Scottish government need to. I mean, talking to people would be great, but they should just adopt the Scandinavian thing. They should just do what they do and just implement them. And I don't actually think it would be that difficult to make the changes. I mean, it would take a while, but I mean, they're not massive changes. They're just changes within the school that already exists. You don't need extra people, extra teachers. It's just a different way of teaching people, or splitting the day up slightly differently.
Yeah.
So that's my
It's-
thing on the education thing.
we talk about this as if it's going to be something that's like really easy to do, but it is going to be very difficult to reform a full education system. But hopefully, progressively over the next 10, 15 years, that they might make changes every year and just implement new things and take out things that didn't work. And then over time, we can get to a really functional school system with today's society.
Yeah.
Another thing that I really took on from Dina, which I knew already, but the way that she explains things, being a registered, like an actual nutritionist, having went to uni and she has all this experience, is a lot of people, their goal is, in when it comes to health and things, is just to lose weight.
Yeah.
That is what their goal is, which is great. But people see that as a temporary, like, oh, I just need to do X, Y, or Z to
Yeah.
lose the weight, and then I can just do what I want again. When really, what people want to, what Dina explains is, what people really want to do, is change their entire lifestyle. It's a lifestyle change for you to be a healthy individual. It's not just a quick fix or one specific diet and then that will fix all your problems. There's loads of different things that come into it. Whether, like, the amount of how much exercise you do, what kind of foods that you're eating all the time, not just on this specific diet, how much water you drink, how much sleep that you get, any supplements that you take. There's loads of different parts. There's loads of different things to think about. It's not just solely on, I need to go on this specific diet. I
100%.
think that was really, really powerful.
And that's why I don't like, people say I'm going on the keto diet, or I'm going on the bagel diet, or I'm going on the diet. That's why I don't think it's good, because a diet's something that a diet's not a lifestyle. You can't eat a keto diet for your life. It's not a balanced diet. So doing a diet like that, okay, you'll lose weight doing it, but then you need to then change your whole thing again when you maintain it. That's a bad thing to do, because it's just like going like that. Like, the best thing to do is just be like, I'm fat, I need to change my whole entire life, and and people struggle to do that, but like, this is what I need to eat to be healthy. And that's what I think people should do. And that's why I don't like diets. The diets are ways to sell things.
Exactly.
Like, I'll do the Chris diet, and it's great, and it's like, and think about these things that people are buying, the things with the powder in it.
Herbalife, bro. Herbalife. Fucking Herbalife.
Herbalife.
Oh, Herbalife, Arbonne. I get it that people want to go away.
It's not good for your body. Don't put it in you.
They get sucked into the whole Herbalife thing because they maybe don't have a nutritional education behind them. It's a multi-level marketing. It's a fucking pyramid scheme. It's brutal. Your dad sells Avon.
But no, mine doesn't. Neither does yours.
Neither does mine.
Eh,
But it's not just fuck me. Took me by
fuck
surprise.
me.
Fuck me. Um, yeah, but it's not just that. It's not just you're changing all. You can change what you eat. You can change how much you drink. You can change how much sleep you get. But it's a mindset thing. You need to change how you think about all these things and how you think about yourself and express gratitude and loads of things that we've talked about before. All these things come into play. So yeah, that's one thing I think I really took away from the Dina thing. It isn't just losing weight, and I think a lot of people probably took away the same. It's not just about losing weight; it's about changing your entire lifestyle, which
Yeah.
is difficult. And it's something that it's not a 6 week diet. It's not an 8 week thing. It's not a 12 week thing. You need to you're trying to change your whole life worth of thinking. You're not going to be able to do that in 12 weeks, 3 months, 6 months. It's going to take you a year. It's going to take you 2 years to get into the place that you actually want to be. Um, so I think, yeah, that was great. If anyone's looking to learn a little bit more about that sort of stuff, definitely check Dina out and have a little listen to the podcast that we've done before. Because she talks about it, the way that she explains it is a lot better than how I can explain it. But it's really powerful.
Yeah.
Really, really
Basically, the
powerful.
crux of it is if you're overweight, a diet isn't going to help. A lifestyle change will
Mm,
properly help, because
mm,
diets help, but not
mm.
they don't really.
It's a temporary fix.
Yeah, the solution is to eat like a good diet, fruit, vegetables, get good sleep, have good people. It's the whole thing. It's not just
Mm.
food. Food's like okay, it's like maybe like 60% of the whole thing, but you also need to exercise, you also need to get good sleep, you also need to drink a lot of water, and you also need to be like a happy, positive person as well, I think, to have a healthy life. So
Yeah, which I think with putting the time into all those other elements, you'll eventually
oh
get.
yeah,
Uh,
100%. Yeah.
it's kind of like if we use a business example, it's like a business that's failing. It's losing money. It's unable to pay its staff. So it's like a diet as a temporary fix. It gets a four. It's a yawn number four for anyone listening. Um, it's like getting a business loan. It's just getting a loan that you need to end up paying back. It's like getting £100 loan to keep the business afloat, but not actually changing anything
That's
in
the
the
one.
business.
Exactly. There you go then.
Not changing anything. Whereas what you would need to do to keep that business going and actually start making money again is change the processes, change the staff, change elements of the business that isn't working. There's
And
no there's yeah.
no, I was just going to say, I also don't like the people that are doing the swipe up, click the link below and all that. You know, like for the overweight thing, it's just like all these people trying to sell stuff. It's just like constant, constant, constant. It's just like all people need to do is eat healthily and drink water and get sleep. That's
Mm,
it. It's really, really easy actually. And don't snack, don't binge eat. Eat the right balanced diet.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Snacking and stuff's fine.
Easy.
It's just making sure it's all calories in, calories out. But that's for another
That's
podcast.
another. That's
That's
another day.
that's we could get deep into this topic. But Jamal, bro, the Jamal podcast was something else. He is some cookie. Really, really good. Very intelligent, like so intelligent. Always laughing. Generally nice person. Um, what
Generally.
generally a very good guy. Um, but what did you take away from Jamal? What was your main sort of? What was your
Um,
thing?
I think the biggest thing from it has to be the racism stuff that he spoke about and how much that um I didn't realize how bad it was. Like you only realize how bad it is when you speak to somebody that's gone through it,
Mm.
because you see it
And
on the news, and it's different when you see it on the news because it's like, well, it's not different. I mean, when the whole George Floyd thing happened, I felt it. I felt it in my heart, and I felt so horrible about it, and so sorry for him and his family, and everyone else did. But see, when somebody actually tells it to you, it's a different thing altogether. Say you see it in the news, and then somebody actually tells you an experience, and the stuff that Jamal's been through, even recently as well. Some of the things are just like horrible, and one of them is the 1999 disclaimer. Uh, the sensitive stuff coming up.
mm,
1999, walks into McDonald's. There's like, after a night out. This is in Ireland, 3 in the morning. They go up to get their food. There's like I don't know, 70 people in total, all, McDonald's, even, everyone started making the monkey noise. As like, couldn't I
It
actually,
makes you feel fucking
started
sick.
crying. I know, like 1999. And that, so that's there was a little bit more to the story, but that's
Yeah,
that's
it goes into a lot of depth. I think if you feel personally that you're a bit uneducated on racism and how everything works and the thought processes behind it, go listen to the Jamal podcast because you will learn a lot. I think it's definitely like you're saying, or like mainstream news and stuff. There's a way that people portray that as yawn number five.
Yep.
Fuck's sake. The way that everything's portrayed, it's everyone knows that racism is a terrible thing, but until you hear that from in person, obviously we were over Zoom, but the same thing matters, and from someone that you know and have an emotional connection with, it's you have no idea, not a clue, not a clue how deep it actually goes. It's definitely if your friends feel comfortable enough, have these conversations with people, and that's where you're going to learn.
Yeah. You're number 6.
Yawn number 6.
Yeah, there's quite a couple of yawns going on, but yeah, it was a really interesting episode, and I learned a lot that I didn't know before, and I really enjoyed listening to Jamal's story and how much of a change still needs to happen
Mm.
in the UK and other countries. Well, everywhere. It's a global thing, isn't it? That's a global pandemic, So
It is. It is. I also loved how. So Jamal, when the whole George Floyd thing happened, he'd done a little photography shoot with his daughter in the house. And what I really took from that whole story, which was amazing that he got all the recognition from that, from Kate Middleton, from museums, from the BBC, from all these news sources, which
Forbes,
was like,
Forbes
yeah,
magazine.
Forbes. The recognition was well deserved. But what I really took from that was more how easy it is to actually stay creative.
Yeah.
I think from being a creative person myself, you do get into these ruts where you find it very difficult to stay creative, to get into that flow of doing things. But all you actually need to do to get back into it is do. Because what Jamal done was he just got his daughter. He was like, right, I want to do a photo shoot for this. Do you want to do it? She said yes, which was probably the hardest part. And then he took her into the kitchen in front of the fridge and done this photo shoot. This photo shoot was done in front of a fridge in his kitchen, and then got to the point where it's getting praise from Kate Middleton and Forbes and all these things. It's so easy to
Yeah.
actually stay creative. You just need to go and do things. There's always
Yeah.
something that you could be doing. That's
Yeah.
what I really took from that.
And for the people that I'm thinking Kate Middleton. Kate Middleton's Prince William's. Is it Prince William? Yeah, Prince
Prince,
William
well,
and
yeah,
Harry.
I don't know a lot about the royal
Yeah,
family, but I think it's
it's
Prince William.
Prince. Yeah, it's Prince William's wife.
Aye,
So it's
yeah,
like
Will and
royalty.
Kate, Will and Kate, yeah.
Yeah, Will and Kate. So it's like that's who, she done like a magazine focusing on Black Lives Matter, and it was like only like 20 or 30 photos selected out of like 5,000, and Jamal's was
I
one
think
of
it was
them.
more than that. Was it like
Probably,
10,000 or like 20,000? It was a
yeah,
ridiculous amount of
no,
photos, like
there
crazy
probably
amount of
was.
photos.
Exactly, and his got in because it was so meaningful, and it was also, as well, it was beautiful because the way that he done it when he got his daughter through, it wasn't like um you know prepare
Yeah,
for it
I know.
type thing. It wasn't a prepare thing for it. It was like let's just do it and then let's just see what happens. And look what happened with it. That's
Mm,
what's cool about it. He didn't plan it. That's what I'm trying to say. He
mm.
didn't plan it. It was just raw and it was natural. Yeah. So Jamal was a really brilliant guest, and then our last guest that we had on, Mr. Ricky Nicol, the
Ricky Nicol figuring dykes. He's
yeah,
just a boy figuring dykes.
it's just a boy.
Good
I'm the
man.
same.
Good
I'm the
man.
same. I'm the same boy for Green Dykes. That's what he said to us. Yeah, Ricky is in his 60s now. Started a telecoms company in the 90s with like no money, and it now turns over 20 million today. And they have like massive contracts with 4 of the biggest councils in Scotland, etc., etc.
Which is greet for the business, but he's a cancer survivor. He had throat
Yes.
cancer. Managed to survive that.
Yeah.
He's now retired from the company. He's now is it retired?
No, he's stepped down from the
He
CEO,
stepped down from the CEO point. That was the
but
one.
he's like the vice chairman or something.
Yeah.
So he's still involved, but just not as much as he was before. But one of the things I took away, or the most important thing that I really took away from that, in fact, I took away a lot of things from it, but one that does stand out to me is how Ricky talks about advice and getting good advisors. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
and you know why the reason that is? Because nobody said that yet. Like, okay, it's obvious you get good advice, but the way that he explained it about getting good advisors in the stories is the reason that they've done so well. And it's the same with people like Richard Branson. He got good people to help him all the things that he done, and it's the reason that he done so well. But yeah, in Ricky's case, advice, getting good advice, and what do I mean by that? When Ricky wanted to start a new business, and after that he'd survived cancer and he'd had time off and he'd seen that the internet was booming and it was becoming this massive thing, he wanted to start a fiber optic company to rival BT, Vodafone, and TalkTalk, the big UK players for that kind of stuff. And he was going to start it, and in his Ian Blackford, the MP, the Scottish
Yeah.
MP that shouts at Boris, called him because he was an advisor, and he's like, this is 2009 or 8 when it's or 7, whenever the banks, it was 2007, whenever the banks, just before the banks went bust. Banks are going to go bust. Don't do it. Don't do it. And he was like,
And he was like, "We'll get you private funding. Like, don't worry about getting money from the banks.
yeah,
The
we'll
banks
get
are literally about to, everything's fucking up. It's really bad. We'll get private funding. Please just listen to me."
yeah. And he said, Ricky, telecoms, because Ian Blackford wasn't an MP at this point. He was a financial advisor, and
Yep.
he'd been in a high position at like a big company or something like that, doing like financial advice for big companies. And he said, Ricky, telecoms, I know money, don't do it. So he didn't do it. And if he had done it, Comms World, Ricky's company, would have been bust today.
And he
So
was
they
at the
wait.
point where he was literally about to sign the contract.
Well, they'd signed. I think they'd signed the bank. They'd signed the bank stuff. He had to call the banking, like cancel it, and they were like angry that they had done it because the bank were going to obviously make a lot of money out the interest. But I think it was like an urgent thing, like stop now. And that was only down to having good. So the reason that Ricky's company went from 6 million to 20 million is all down to one person's advice telling them to do something. That's pretty important,
Incredible.
So getting good advisors is like, and like I was saying, what do I mean by that is like get people that are better than you helping you do what you want to do. That's what Ricky done. So it's like
And in specific fields as well. Like if you've got money problems or you want to learn more about money, find someone that knows loads about money and ask them for help. Like
yeah,
specifically, because you could get someone that's smarter than you. It's easy to find someone that's smarter than you, but you want someone that's smarter than you in the specific field that you want to learn more about or that you need help in.
yeah, exactly. And if you're specialist in something, use an individual. If you're a joiner or whatever, let's just assume that that's your specialty. That's why it's important to get advice from good
An
financial
accountant,
advice.
a financial advisor,
Yeah,
a business advisor, because
yeah, it's a wider world.
yeah, you are the trade.
Yeah,
You are the person that goes away and does the
yeah,
work to make the money, but you don't know how to use that money. You don't know. There's a book called the E-Myth,
yes.
which I
I'm
think
still yet to read it.
yeah. Is it you that have lent that to, or did you buy it yourself?
No, I actually got given it as a present.
Oh, you got given it. I think it's Ryan Mulvey that's still got my E-Myth. Judas.
Ryan,
Ryan.
Ryan.
Ryan. Um, and in that it talks about the three different elements. It's like the person that actually does the work, the manager, and then the person that runs the business.
Yeah,
So, and that's talking from someone starting their own business and on a self-employed basis. But this works the same. If you're a joiner, you need to be the the guy that does the work. You need to be the manager of the business, making sure everything gets done properly. And you need to be the guy that works on the business and knows all about the finance and stuff. So you want to surround
yeah.
yourself with the right advisors to keep you right on the things that you don't actually know about to allow you time to focus on other things.
100%, yeah. And a lot of people hit barriers with that because you think, how am I going to afford another thing? But you can't think like that because it's like that's a small mindset. You need to invest. You need to find the money. If you want to grow the business, if you want to run a business that makes X amount of money and you get your money every month and you're happy, then that's fine. But if you want to really grow a business, you need to find people to help, because without them, I don't think it's as easy, you know. In fact, it's probably impossible, because there's no business that's like, it wasn't just Steve Jobs at Apple, you know. It wasn't just Jeff Bezos at Amazon. It wasn't just Elon Musk at Tesla. It's other people, you know. So
it's the people in the background.
Exactly, yeah, and that's the important bit, is getting people that specialize in something to help do it, or to do it, you know, full stop. It's definitely the best way to do it, and that's the biggest thing I learned from Ricky, and I think that's his biggest thing that he can tell to everyone, because he's seen it.
It's definitely the biggest thing that I learned as well, is the advice part, because you know I've got good advisors around me. I've got friends that know a lot about things that I don't know. Like my stepdad gives me so much advice, it's incredible. But without my friends that know more about me, more, you know what I'm trying to say, and my stepdad who knows more about business than me, then I wouldn't be in the position I am today to be doing my own thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, and then Ricky, the three things that Ricky had said as 3 life tips were, life's not a rehearsal. If you don't give it a try, you'll never know. So give it a try, whatever you want to do, and get good advisors, good financial control. You know, good, like people. If you're good at business and you get good advisors, your business will grow so much.
Yeah,
you know, so much. If you're good at what you do, get somebody that's been through it helping you. So that was Ricky. But now that I'm looking back, what 3 really good episodes they were. Like 3 solid episodes.
All really different as well, which is what I liked about it. It wasn't too, because the way we've been thinking about the podcast and things is that we don't want it to be too businessy. Because the idea that we started it was obviously wanting to help people, and just get across information and things, and just try and help people change for the better. But we did think about getting all these like people in business and speak about business and speak about this. But what's actually came to it is we chat to people more about their life, just in general. There is no specific topic. We didn't get Jamal on to specifically talk about racism. We got him on because he's a really interesting person and wanted to find out about him. Same with Dina. We didn't want her on to specifically talk about nutrition. We wanted to find out more about her because she has a really interesting story. And same with Ricky. So it's turning into more of a chat to people about their lives, and you get all these tips and stuff that we were looking for, that we thought that we needed to chat about business to get, just for chatting to them about them, which is great.
No, it is great, and I'm forever happy for all the guests we've had on, because we're learning so much, and everyone else can learn from it, because, you know, obviously.
And as much as we're learning, everyone else is learning at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, it's brilliant that other people have access. Like, how mad is it that like anybody in the world that's got a phone and, you know, that has like a smartphone or whatever can listen to not just our podcast, but any podcast, but in our case can listen to a podcast for somebody from Edinburgh who's had a company that started with no money that turned out in a 20 million company. You can actually listen to that person's story and how they done it. I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, last 3 guests have been really, really good, and I'm looking forward to next week. Next week's guest, Roy Ritchie, RX2. Roy.
Yeah, Roy was a really good chat. It got emotional. It got really emotional.
Yeah,
and
get ready for tears, because I actually started crying, and you'll see that
it was funny. I looked at him and saw him welling up. I looked down at you, and I could see it in your eye, and then I was like, oh no, everything's. It was one of those moments. But yeah, that's coming up next week, which is great.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that one coming out as well, because that was funny as well. Actually, that was there was funny bits in it and emotional bits. It was a real roller coaster, if you know what I mean. That was definitely one of the most emotional ones for sure, because of the rawness, totally raw, like fully raw.
Roy messaged afterwards, and he was like, I didn't think it would get that vulnerable. But he liked it, which is something that I was thinking about the podcast, and the listeners might agree, because we have had some of these conversations, especially between ourselves, is that people need to allow themselves to become more vulnerable. especially when they're talking to friends or like people they feel comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let that vulnerability come through.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, I
that's
totally
that
agree.
from, if we go back to when, I know we spoke about it a lot, but going through the times where I've like went sober and tried to sort myself out,
Mm.
I don't think I would have been able to do that if I didn't allow myself to become vulnerable and being able to chat to people and tell people the truth and the honest truth about how I was feeling. And yeah, and just be completely vulnerable. I would not have been able to get over what I did, and get to the point that I am now without allowing myself to become vulnerable. And that becomes part of your personality. I feel like now, just in general, I allow myself to become vulnerable, but vulnerable maybe has some negative connotations if you don't understand it. You can think, oh, that vulnerable, it means that I'm susceptible to, like, people might take advantage of that, and people might take advantage of that, but it's up to you and how you deal with that.
Yeah. Just remember that vulnerable is a word that was made by humans and its meaning was constructed by humans.
And its meaning is then perceived by the individual.
Yeah. It's just made up. It's just rubbish. All you're doing is just be, when you say I'm being vulnerable or what Roy was or what you were, just being honest.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like there's nothing wrong with saying you feel shit. There's nothing wrong with saying you don't like whatever the thing is, whatever the I don't know what the word is for it, not complaint, but whatever the issue is, there's nothing wrong with saying it. I mean, you know, it is what it is, and I think when you say it, the better it is, because you get everything
Mm.
out and you can fix things easier and you can see things easier when you're honest and you lay everything out. So yeah, the Roy one, I think people, the viewers, listeners, lovely people will see that in next week's episode
Mm.
and be able to actually like understand, because you'll actually see him talking about it and see the
Yeah.
vulnerability, or whatever they call it, honesty. I like to call it, not vulnerability.
Yeah.
Um,
We've got
but
another
yeah,
couple of
that's
chats coming up as well. We've got Kima and Keshab. We were going to do this.
finally.
Oh, it's been a long time coming. We were supposed to do this ages ago, and we did actually do it, but we because there was four of us, we only had three microphones, so we were like, right, we're going to use this. What is it? Is it the Rode Omni, the directional mic that you use?
Yeah, it's
Chris uses it.
basically a good mic. It's a,
Yeah,
it's a
it is a really good mic, but it picks up everything. It's like a studio mic. You really want that in a like quiet, silent studio. Um, and using it in there. But we used it when the restaurant was on, when everything was still open and back up, and you could hear everything, and the audio quality wasn't great. So we're re-recording that. We've got Keem and Keshab coming
and
up.
and just for the viewers that might not know, Keem and Keshab are the owners of two restaurants in Edinburgh, Gutam's and Salty, which are an Indian Nepalese restaurant
Mm.
in Edinburgh. Two young, really cool guys that are doing loads of really cool stuff. And yeah, it's going to be a good one. So we'll get onto that as well. What else are we talking about?
Sorry, I was just looking up. We've got another guest coming up, but I can't remember off the top of my head who it is. But we've got loads of stuff coming up, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
Um,
we do.
we were going to talk a bit about. Yeah, I learned something recently. Well, when I say recently, I mean I learned something yesterday. It was literally yesterday. So I'll tell you a little story that I think will be applicable to a lot of people. Earlier on in the podcast, we were talking about how me myself and I like to overcomplicate things, and I do it all the time. And we talk about it. We talk about making things simple and simplifying things, and not making it complicated. I feel like it's just integrated in my mind that, yeah, you fucking Ryan, yeah, you complicate everything. Just do it. But yesterday, I'd been toying around with the idea. I was like, I know I want to go freelance. I know I want to do my photography, videography, creative, marketing, all this shit. And I'd been putting off just actually telling people that I was going to do it. I was like, I've been saying, oh, I need a plan for this, and I need a plan for that, and I need a logo, and I need all this. So yesterday I was like, right, I'm going to get the Facebook page launched today, and I'm just going to announce what I'm doing, and put it out there in the world. So I was like, right, what do I need? I was like, oh, I really need a logo. And then I sat down in Adobe Illustrator, and I was trying to make a logo for like an hour and a half. And then I thought to myself, I was like, this is exactly what you're telling other people not to do. You're overcomplicating things. You're going freelance under your own name. You do not need a logo. People know you for you. Well, why are you wasting even more time by trying to think of a logo? And during my thought process of this, I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh, if I can't find a logo today, I'll just wait and I'll do it on Friday when I've got more time. I just thought to myself, do you know what? Stop it. You do this all the time. You always try and overcomplicate things and try and get loads of things done that don't actually need to be done right there and then. If I want a logo in the future, I can make myself a logo. But the most important thing is getting it out there that this is what you do. So I just thought to myself, fuck it, and I just got a picture. Thanks to Stevie for sending over the pictures.
Stevie, sing whoop whoop.
Chuck it on the Facebook. I just made the Facebook page and launched it. Put a post up on Facebook. Got fantastic reactions, and I've already got a couple of job offers coming for some client work, which is amazing. So the crux of that is
It's easy.
it's a lot easier than you're making it out to be. A lot of the things that you're telling yourself you need to do don't actually need to be done. The most important thing, at least that I've experienced in this part, is just get out there that this is what you're doing.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's all you need to do.
I don't like. I've been in business for X amount of years, but I've been in business for 5 years now, running a business, running different businesses, and it's really, really easy if you do it the way that I do it, and the way I do it is make it easy for yourself. You know, and that's the way that I've done it. I can't think of a time where I've been like scratching my head like, oh, I really don't. I mean, there have been times when you don't know what to do, but I don't know. I just, in a general sense, I try to make decisions straight away, you know, within a minute to make decisions and just make fast decisions.
And
where did
you get that piece of advice from, Chris? Because I know it was a book that you read, a little red book. It was Mr. Richard Branson.
Oh yeah, Screw It, Let's Do It.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good book. I recommend that. In fact, that is a really good book for everyone to read. Screw It, Let's Do It. It's about 50 pages. You've still got it, don't you? It's
nah. You got that back. Oh wait, no. It is there. It is there. It's lying flat.
So that's a brilliant book about just like stop planning stuff, stop thinking about it, and just go out and do it. Start today. You know, if you want to do something, start. You know, that's my thing about it, and don't waste time. And I've been saying that over and over. So yeah, that's my thing on it. But yeah, I do agree with you, and it's good that you've learned something from it. It's great to be learning. Day one, it remains day one, as Jeff Davis said.
That's literally it. And I think now that it's just one of these things. You say it yourself. You know that it's true. You give other people that advice, but you don't take it on yourself.
Yeah.
But there comes a point where you actually realize, and a situation happens, like what happened yesterday, and you think to yourself, it's like an moment. You're like, this is what I keep telling other people to do, and this is what I know I should be doing myself, but I'm not.
Yeah, you follow your own advice.
You cross that barrier, and once you've crossed that barrier or following your own advice, you're like, ah. So it's just, I think this is something that's going to stick, is just stop overcomplicating it. And now that I've actually done it, and you realize what you're doing, and you sort of reflect on that, then you can actually put it into perspective.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
So that's that was that little story. I think we've come to the end of the episode.
Nice. That was good. I enjoyed talking.
It's nice.
Great.
It's nice.
Had a couple of laughs, and I'm going to have a nice big stretch after my 10th yawn.
You must be burst. You must be burst. It has been really full on for you. It's just one of those things that you need to get done until you cross that line, and then you're on the home stretch, my friend.
Berlin, here we come.
Keep it up. As soon as we can get to Berlin, we'll be tearing the place apart.
Yeah, I know.
I just want the scooters, bro. I just want to be back on the scooters. Hopefully not raining and I nearly kill myself.
Oh, bro, that Berlin thing, man. Oh, it was just so good. It's the best place I've ever been in my whole life. It was so good. It's the best holiday ever. The food, the people, the sights, like just the whole thing was just so good. Like, do you know what it was, right? When we got to Berlin, it felt like we'd been like we just knew the city. like straight away. Like we were getting about easy. Like
Yeah.
you know, we found the hotel. There was people going holiday, and it's like found have issues because it's a new country. We've never been there before, a new city. It just didn't feel like that in Berlin. Like by day two, the day we woke up after the day we got there, it was just like we knew how to get into the city centre. We knew what we were doing. We knew where everything was. It was just brilliant, you know.
It was good. It was
Cheeky
good.
chisel checkpoint, Charlie.
And on that note, thank you very much for listening, everyone. It's
Thank
been
you.
another amazing little podcast, and we will see you on the next episode.
Nice one.
Peace out.
Stop. Stop.